Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button below. Thanks for all the support. We've seen some amazing growth during the past couple of weeks. And don't forget, when you subscribe, and for those of you who already are subscribers, there is a draw for a signed retro Winnipeg Blue Bomber Milt Stegall jersey. So get in on that. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, and that's subscribed on YouTube. So make sure on that you're subscribing there. Find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's favorite TikTok. And don't forget, check us out on Reddit and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
We got CFL talk. Of course, we got some Blue Bomber talk. We got a little bit of NFL talk, and we got some hot topics. So let's get into it. The Bombers played the Alouettes, almost put a 50 burger on them, ended Montreal's winning streak by pacing them 47-17. So let's start with the good. Let's start with the defense. Like, they're better than good. They were great.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the yardage they gave up was crazy. They only gave up 3 points.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And only 173 yards total. I think it was 21 in the second half or something like that.
Like, giving up 170 yards passing in this CFL is amazing.
Yeah.
Total yards?
Yeah, total.
The dark side is back. And this is the second game in a row where they've played and not given up an offensive touchdown.
Yeah. And it's amazing because they were just dominant. Like, Montreal, they're not, well, special teams were pinning Montreal back, and Montreal got some yardage, but they couldn't get past midfield.
Yeah.
You know, and then the turnovers started in the second half, and Bomber D was just like, enough. Even that Jeffcoat fumble, like the fumbled snap, like how Jeffcoat beat Fajardo to that ball. Oh, I can't even understand it, man. And then not only did he do that, he knocked him on his ass, too. So,
like, if he would have picked that up full stride, he would have been gone. No one was catching him.
I think he just wanted the ball and to hit Fajardo at the same time. And he's like, I'm
absolutely, eh? Here you go, offense. And they stopped the running game.
Yeah.
Stanback and I can't remember their other guy. Fletcher. Like, they're below 50 yards.
Yeah. And especially Stanback coming off that crazy week the week before against Ottawa, right? So, yeah, it was a great effort. Jake Thomas, another sack as well.
Career best. Career best.
Yeah.
Small shout out to him. Holy cow.
And Winston Rose with his first interception of the year, too. So that was great for him, too.
So many good.
He was close on another one, too, earlier in that game. So
yeah, the defense was on fire.
Oh, yeah. If it keeps up that way, I mean, the offense, Zach Larles can throw a bunch more picks, and the defense will hold it together. And then Zach Larles will be, okay, let's play now.
Any more good?
Yeah, Oliveira, again, another solid game from him. 119 yards on the ground, 196 total. Like, he was a beast out there. And just unstoppable. And that blocking from the O-line was great as well. And Oliveira just kind of held that offense together a bit.
Yeah. 196 total rushing yards for the entire team. Because
that's point. Yeah.
125 because I think he got that 1 6-yard reception for a touchdown.
Right. Yeah.
He can do it all. I haven't seen as much of that heavy set and tight end set. So it does look that it's being used as a necessity rather than becoming a staple. But if they keep playing like this, I won't have nothing to complain about. Like, my issue last time we talked was the Bombers going 0 for 4 in the red zone against Calgary. That was crazy and unacceptable. And they went 3 for 4 into the red zone this week. So that was a huge turnaround there. And yeah, Brady Oliveira, 900 yards on the season already, 4 touchdowns.
He's unstoppable there, and he's just putting his body on the line every time, and he's punishing the defenders on the other side that they don't want anything to do with him late in the game. So he's come a long way this year, man.
Absolutely.
And then the
huge step forward.
The funny thing is, talking about it, Stanback is making about $60,000 more than Oliveira right now. So great deal on Oliveira.
Absolutely. We talked about Buck Pierce. You know, he did get into a groove, and he has these receivers flying all over the field. Buck Pierce, sorry, Zach Caleros. But I think it's because of Buck Pierce. He's really getting into a groove. Now I'm into my groove, talking properly. The receivers were flying all over the field and using all that motion in the backfield to create confusion. Again, four different runners with the ball, not including Prukop, and the amount of receivers they're spreading. Shout out to Buck Pierce. Another good game from him.
Yeah, like again, another slow start again by this Winnipeg offense kind of thing, right? We were texting each other again, like what's going on here? Not the greatest of starts, but yeah, once that offense can get in that rhythm, Buck Pierce's play calling, he just goes well with it, and they're just finding that, and they're using each other, and they're looking what's working and everything, and they're unstoppable at that point. Once that Bomber offense got going, they were unstoppable. That Montreal D, which is a good D, had no answers. They shut down Sean Lemon, who looked dangerous in that first quarter, but then after that, where was he? Nowhere else, right? And that offense just took over.
Anything else good from the game?
I'm going to give credit to Greg McRae on his returns. He had some good returns. He looked a little bit better. He had a long return in this game as well, but he looked a little bit more dangerous. And Jamison Sheehan, I'll give him credit as well for his punting in this game. It was some good punting, pinning Montreal deep and keeping them back there.
Yeah, his net must have been around 40 yards per punt.
I think it was 45 or so.
Which is pretty good. His gross, I think, was like 40, something like that. Anytime you're over 40 on net, that's really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the kickoffs, again, the coverage team wasn't great. Worthy had some good returns and stuff like that, but otherwise they bottled that up pretty good.
Another good is that crazy sold out field at IG. That was insane. That was fun to be around. It was electric there, and no negative vibes. You know, I'm in section 112, and there's nothing negative going around. Everyone's having a good time. It was military night. So shout out to the Bombers for putting on another good evening at IG Field.
Yeah, great attendance, especially again for another Thursday night, right? And then, you know, the weather was kind of iffy as well. There was a bit of a delay, wasn't there? 15 minutes or so. So, yeah, with the weather looking kind of crazy and creepy, people still showed up. That's fantastic.
Last Thursday night game of the year?
Yeah, that's last Thursday, because then the NFL takes over Thursday nights, Sunday nights. They take it over, all over.
Ridiculous. You can have Sunday night. Go ahead, take Sunday night.
I guess after Labor Day, that's it for Sundays. Really, for the CFL, or do they play some on still? Probably a bit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anything else good before we go on to the bad?
No, I mean, there was a lot good in this game for sure. You can name off pretty much everything in this game. There was three bad plays in this game, and I'm sure we're going to talk about them.
Okay, let's start it. Go ahead, talk about them 3 bad plays that were bad.
The interceptions, basically, by Collaros. 2 got taken back to the house. First pass of the game. So back-to-back passes for him from going back to the Elks game, and this one were taken back as pick sixes. And then his second one was just mind-boggling too, in field goal range, just to throw that up there for Lawler with the guy back there, 2 guys sandwiching him.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I just don't think he saw the guy at all. He didn't see that defender. He just went for the quick throw. And another one got taken back. The fact that Montreal were actually winning this game at one point in that first quarter was kind of crazy. Thinking about it, especially how bad their offense. I mean, their offense wasn't bad in the first half, I guess, Montreal. So it was decent. But the fact that they couldn't move it, but Montreal was still up, was kind of crazy. So to me, those are the game. Those are the moments of the game that to look back at on, clean those up kind of thing,
Dang. Then I don't know what you have for ugly, because I have those picks under ugly.
Yeah.
Two of them taken back for touchdowns. It's bad to get picks, but 2 of them brought back for TDs. Like, this should have been a 47. I'm going into uglier now. This should have been a 47-3 game, but those are 2 big brain farts. And Zach Collaros says, my competitive nature got the best of me. Dude, you've been playing this game a long time now. And like you said, these were 2 consecutive picks, ill-advised throws that could have easily been thrown out of bounds that were taken to the house, both times scrambling for your life. That can't happen, especially against good teams.
No, so, exactly. You can definitely throw those into ugly for sure. They were ugly. Those 2 pick sixes, and even the other one wasn't great. But yeah, you're not going to get away with that against good teams. But when you got a defense like they had, they kept that game together, allowed the offense to grab their composure, and Collaros to grab his composure and finish it off after, right? So, but yeah, you don't see that too often, especially from Zach Collaros. No. Not only did he throw 3 interceptions, but 2 of them got taken back for touchdowns. So
that was my ugly. For my bad is the officiating. And I get it. Not bad, but just the specificity of this roughing call against Ricky Walker, where his hand inadvertently contacted the quarterback's head. And of course, as Bomber fans, it's really frustrating when another player the week before lands on the quarterback's head when it could have been prevented. So that's my bad.
I can look at it that Ricky Walker goal, it's a penalty, right? Because you can't touch anyone in the head. It's a penalty.
Letter of the law.
All day long. But I get you. It's like if you're gonna call that, which is just a hand pushing ahead, you got to call the one where the guy's jumping on some guy's head and not say there's nothing wrong with it. Plus, it went to review as well. So how do you miss that? But yeah, I get it.
Intentional or not.
Exactly. And some of the pass interference calls in this game were kind of iffy as well, ticky-tacky kind of thing that you could probably get away with. So
both ways.
Yeah, both ways, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Just not as Bomber fans. I gave you all my ugly. Did you have any other bad before you want to share any ugly?
No, I'm just going to talk about Montreal's ugly kind of thing because taking 13 penalties, talking about penalties, 13 penalties, 142 yards.
No.
When you're in a game that close that you probably shouldn't be, taking these penalties is not going to help you. And that's where things unraveled fast for Montreal. Not only did the Bombers offense take over, the D was dominant. Montreal kept killing themselves with penalties anyway. So, and that's partly because the team on the other side of the ball is probably better than you, so you're taking penalties because you can't keep up. So
absolutely. And you're getting tired.
Yeah.
That defense is on the field too long. And the offense is holding too much.
So oh, sorry, go ahead.
Procedure. Sorry, a lot by Montreal, which is, not because of noise. They're just you're gonna say?
At what point in that game though did Montreal they won 2 games, right? With Caleb Evans at quarterback. Now you're trying to prove that you belong in the top 4, with BC, Toronto, Winnipeg.
Yep.
And then it's not working, but you stuck with Fajardo. At what point shouldn't they have switched to Caleb Evans at some point?
Absolutely. Fajardo was ineffective coming out of halftime.
Yeah. Like he had an okay first half. He wasn't lights out. He only still put up 3 points. And then when he struggled in his first 2 series in the third, like, man, go back to Caleb Evans. I don't understand what Moss was doing in that game.
That I agree with that decision. That should have been made.
Yeah. Right.
Ugly coaching.
Yeah. Again, Jason Moss, we gave him credit last week, right? Didn't we?
See, the curse. The curse of rain. Benny rears its ugly head. Friends, don't forget to put your comments and your good, bad, and the ugly about our Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Let's move on to CFL Team Grades.
All right.
You can go first.
I guess let's start with Montreal and Winnipeg, right? So I'm going to go with Montreal. I'm going to give him a D-. I'd give him an F, but they're 2 plays for interception, or they're 3 plays for the interceptions, and the 2 that return. They're actually good defensive plays. Probably their best defensive plays of the game. So I'll give them a D- because of those. Even maybe a D, but D-.
All right. Winnipeg gets an A for their performance. It would have been an A+, but we're in for those pick sixes without a doubt. Huge game against Saskatchewan.
Oh, back to back. Saskatchewan's ready, man. They're trying to. They just beat BC. They're trying to prove they're actually part of that upper echelon of the CFL.
Oh no. But they can definitely cement their place in the playoffs. Not cement, start to cement.
Yeah.
Pour the sand into the machine or wherever, however they make cement. I don't know. And and Winnipeg with their win can come closer to clinching a playoff spot. So
yeah, so Saskatchewan can take one of these games and say BC, goes on their trajectory to where they are now. I mean, they could be hosting a West semi at some point if Saskatchewan can pull one out of these, or even somehow pull it 2. We'll see. But
yeah, I agree. Who you got next?
Let's go Calgary, Toronto, right? Calgary, I'll give them a C+. Good effort in that game, playing again one of the top teams in the league. That's 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
They had never lost at BMO Field, actually, Calgary. So that's crazy. Jake Meyer looked like a competent quarterback, throwing almost 400 yards. But the D that shut down the Bombers, and I mean, it was Drew Brown, I guess, right? Back up.
Mm-hmm.
But they shut down and then just couldn't make a stop against Toronto at all, and they needed it.
Yeah.
So tough way for them to go down and then losing on the was it the punt return, right?
Leak.
Leak.
That's crazy.
He leaked through. Reggie Beckleton. I got to mention Beckleton. What a game, man. Over 200 yards, 203 yards, couple touchdowns. He was on fire. Unfortunately, he couldn't make a bunch of catches at the end to keep some drives alive, but great game by him.
That's been an issue for a while for Calgary, is the drop passes.
Yeah. We talked about him in the game last week against the Bombers, too.
Oy. And, the defense played good at the beginning against Toronto because they got like 2 picks early in the game against Chad Kelly. They just couldn't keep the momentum going.
No.
Speaking of Toronto, I'll give the Argos a strong B. The offense played well after those mentioned Chad Kelly interceptions early in the game, which is actually encouraging to see a young QB being able to come out of that, not young in age, but young in experience in the CFL. They got that roulette. He was rolling. But I mentioned last week, that was my question, the critical question. Can they defense find their footing? And no, they look so sus. They
Yeah.
let Meyer throw for almost 400 yards, 4 TDs, 0 touchdowns, and they lost their starting halfback, Amos, to a season-ending injury, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. They faced a few injuries in that game.
Yeah, and the safety that they brought down to halfback, the two safeties that they brought in after that, both got injured.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were getting
Oh,
lost. So
poor Toronto on defense, but they won the game.
yeah, I mean,
So
if your offense can put up that many points, we'll see. I mean, you got Winnipeg's D
yeah.
that's playing really well, and then Toronto D's not. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But too bad they don't play each other more than once.
B, B for them.
Uh,
Who do you got next?
Hamilton. Oh, big upset of the week there
That
again.
was huge.
So, sorry, BC fans, because we talked about another massacre, and 2 weeks in a row we've talked about massacres, and BC's lost both those games. So,
Yeah, we put those in the
um,
bank
yeah,
and they bounced.
yeah,
Those
exactly.
mofos bounced.
Ugh. Good thing I didn't bet on either of these 2 weeks of BC games, man. I would have lost a lot.
For
Um,
sure.
I'm giving them an A. I'm giving Hamilton an A. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this. No one was expecting this, but 132 yards on the ground. Or James Butler had 154 total yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. Just handed it to his old team. Taylor Powell looked good, looked
Yeah.
confident, got it done, and their D just shut down that high-powered BC offense.
Oof.
So great effort by them, and hey, right back in the mix.
Yeah, James Butler punched them in the face
Oh, he
hard.
did. He's like, yeah,
And
you
that
don't want to sign
just,
me?
yeah, here you go. This is what
Yeah.
you're missing. And they couldn't run the ball.
No, Mazzello only had about
Oh,
50 yards, I think. So
they set the tone. That I'll give the Lions a D. Yeah, they've lost to now Dolagal 1 week, and they lost to Powell this week. What is that? Everything was just off for this team. They looked horrible. The coach said they looked off. There was no energy, and that's what it looked like to me.
yeah.
It's not one of those games that you can put on Vernon Adams' shoulders. That's for sure. His receivers were dropping balls. They couldn't get anything going, like you said, on the running game. So yeah, they just got beaten up. They couldn't match what Hamilton wanted to do.
Yeah, and for a team that has, Grey Cup aspirations, they're talk of the town when they beat the Bombers. They're rolling. They shut out Edmonton twice.
Yeah,
They got some work to do because, right now they're not performing at the level that they can.
Scott
Or
Milanovich factor or what?
yeah, and, he had a solid game plan, especially in the first half, and then BC kind of reacted to it, and he kind of changed it up a little bit. But
Yeah,
running game, man. But we would talk about Hamilton, and they don't have a quarterback. You're at your 4th-string quarterback. You got to use that running game. So
they did.
yeah.
Who you got next?
Oh, Ottawa Redblacks. I got to give them an F. Crum not progressing. I don't know if it's Kahari not trusting him enough to go downfield or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Under 200 yards again, and only 28 on the ground. He's a bit of a running quarterback. You should get him out of there and move around. So there's a lot of question marks in Ottawa, and even that offensive line, which we thought would actually be good coming into the season, it has
yeah.
not been good, and it was manhandled all game.
That game predictable.
Yeah.
They gotta shake something up. I'd blame the coaching in that one. Edmonton. I'll give them the Professor Curse special. I'll give them a B+/A. Yeah, kind of considering that bump to an A because they broke that streak at home. It's fun watching this Canadian quarterback grow forward as a starter. Over 300 yards passing, although the team they play against is a horrible pass defense. But he put over 70 yards himself and a TD, passed for a TD, didn't turn the ball over. 2 straight wins going to Labor Day.
Yeah,
That's
it could
good for
have
Edmonton.
been 3 if they hung on against the Bombers there, but yeah, they're getting better. And again, makes you question why Trey Ford wasn't starting.
Because Chris Jones is the coach. That's why.
Jeez.
Speaking of
Terrible.
coaches, is Bobby Dyce the long-term solution in Ottawa?
Hard for me to say at this point, but it's not looking like it at all. The team's just not getting better. The team's getting worse. How they ended up beating the Bombers, I still cannot figure out. and I'll be questioning that. But right now, I think he's got to make a move, and it's either you got to change something up on defense because Baron Miles D is not living up to expectations at this point either, giving up a lot of yards, getting no turnovers. Trey Ford was all over them, passing, running, and Edmonton had 470 yards total offense. You know, when do the Elks put that kind of numbers up, right? And then Kahari Jones with Crum, things aren't moving there. So 11 games, and this is some stats I was reading today. They've only had one 100-yard receiving performance, only one 100-yard rushing performance, and have not had any of their quarterbacks go over 300 yards. So I'm starting to question him, and I don't know if he's going to last or if the GM is going to last in Ottawa.
Yeah, I don't think they have the horses. And the GM, I'm not fully confident in the GM there. He's from Hamilton, started off as a communications guy, I guess, came up through the system. Yeah, that's a good story and all. I think Bobby Dyce is a long-term solution at head coach. They just need to get the players. The man has not had a QB. He's not had a QB. This guy still has strong ties to the CIS game. We've seen him inspire a room already with the roster and the team that he had in the locker room at the end of last year when they were actually competitive. Yeah, Burke, that's his name.
Yeah.
Dyce, yeah, I still believe in Dyce. Get the man a QB, get him another year with the systems that he has in place, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they fire him after 1 year, anyways, unless of course they're getting rid of all of them, Burke as well, kind of thing. But yeah, he needs some players. The team's not good enough, but he also needs to kind of grow as the season goes on and not make some of the same mistakes that he continues to make game in and game out. But something has to happen. Like the D and the offense is not performing at all.
Yeah. Well, how long is his contract? They just give him a year?
No, he probably got 2 or 3. I'm assuming. I doubt it was just a year.
So maybe the operations cap keeps him there. If they don't tweak it.
Unless the Elks can get rid of it somehow.
Oh, they gotta tweak it. What a stupid thing. Should the CFL move the goalposts back, as per journalist Daryl Davis suggests?
No. I don't like it. And then if you read the article, I like Paul McCallum's rebuttal to everything. Basically shut it down. Like he said in that Calgary Winnipeg game, those field goals probably wouldn't have been attempted. So that game probably would have ended a bunch of singles and then that touchdown, the return. So it would have been like 9-7, 9-6, whatever it is, right? Yeah. And if you're going to do it, you're probably going to have to shorten the end zone, which kind of takes away from the CFL game and those deep TDs in the end zone, right? So to me, it doesn't help the league at all. I think it'll be less scoring. And then, like it said in there, 4th down, you probably need 4 downs to be able to score in this league, kind of thing. And he said about coaches might go for it more on the 30. They're not.
Are you crazy?
They're not. No,
what kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah, terrible idea.
They might as well just go for the Rouge.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what will happen. There'll be more punting in the game. Yeah. Do we really need more punting in the game when scoring needs to be increased? What a stupid idea.
I don't. I mean, I'd rather see touchdowns than field goals for sure. Why not? Right. But you're not going to have any field goal attempts if those goalposts are back. And again, in that article, how many people have actually gotten hurt running into those posts?
I can't remember none, other than the Saskatchewan Roughrider fans' feelings when the balls go boink off of it.
But that adds another dimension to the game, right? Is you got to be aware of those things. You can use it as a decoy. And even that, it's not even offensive players. I've never seen any defensive players run into it either. But it's another dimension. Use it as decoy. You got to get it around those posts. Yeah. Leave it. Yeah.
I like it. Stamps or Elks? If only one of them can make the playoffs or only one of them makes the playoffs, which team will it be? I got the Elks on this one. They have the friendlier schedule of the two. They are trending upwards. Calgary can't figure it out. And it seems like their best option is to stick with Meyer. Meanwhile, Edmonton's their offense is growing. It's getting better, and they're growing it around Trey Ford's strength. So I think the Elks will make the playoffs if one of those teams make the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly, if we're thinking that, I don't think either of these teams are making the playoffs. But if we're picking one, I'm going to go with the Stampeders. I just think, not this week withstanding, their D is a little bit better than the Elks. And I still think Dickinson is probably a better coach than Chris Jones, and he'll get over this hump. But this Labor Day, obviously, these two games are obviously going to be determine a lot of which one of these teams is going to make the playoffs or not, or have a chance to make the playoffs. So it's going to be a fun 2 weeks. bad enough. They pretty much have almost the same schedule, except Calgary gets Hamilton and Winnipeg, or Edmonton gets where is it? The Argos. So kind of a little bit tougher there. Both have tough schedules though to finish.
I don't see Calgary making it. Their defense is.
I don't see either of these teams making it.
I don't know. Look, the East doesn't look pretty strong.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Hamilton beat BC. Obviously, that was it's a 1 week wonder, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But we'll see if they can play well and maybe take one of these games away from Toronto.
Scott Milanovich. You know what?
I forgot that he was Edmonton signed him as their coach, and he never ended up coaching a game for them. Because then I think he bolted to the NFL after that.
Clown show. What a clown show. Speaking of clown shows, you know what? It's great that Edmonton broke that streak, but it really pisses me off when you have some of these journalists saying it's the first win or home win since the streak under the Elks name. Or you know what? Can you shut up about that garbage? Right? This guy from the Edmonton Journal, this Jerry guy, said first home win since the Elks changed their name. They're just trying to convolute some garbage story here to get some attraction and some clicks. Stop being stupid with these mouth-breathing coverage points that you have. It's nonsensical. It's stupid.
Yeah.
That Ballsy guy, your boy Ballsy did the same thing.
My boy. What does a name change or have to do with winning and losing at all? None of these players would have been around even with the other names. So what's the difference? You think they're thinking about that? You think the coaches are saying that, hey, we haven't won since we changed our team name, guys?
No. Yeah. The streak happened before the name change.
Yeah.
Stupid. Let's move on to hot topics. Sorry, I got off topic. Josh Jacobs signing, big deal?
That's a good deal for the Raiders. I don't know if it's necessarily a good deal for Jacobs. Even if he goes and balls out this year, he ends up with a franchise tag again next year, and they play the same game again next year. So hopefully he can go out and put up a great season like he did last year and then force their hand a little bit. But good deal for the Raiders and good deal for Jacobs to get back on the field, but not necessarily money-wise.
He got $2 million more in franchise value. Of course, it's good money wise.
Yeah, it's fine, exactly. But we just talked about the running backs and kind of how undervalued they are, right? You think a receiver is a good receiver on a team is making that little money? Not little money, obviously, right?
There's no way a running back was going to jump up to 20 million.
No, not 20.
So
but
I think
you get to 15, kind of reset that number a little bit. He was the best running back, right? If he can't get that number, no one's getting it. So
I don't think that raise of 50% would have happened, though. I think 12 million was pretty good on that one. It sucks that it's small, though, in regards to length. It's a 1 year.
Yeah, and I wish it was also, hey, you can't franchise tag me again next year kind of thing. So,
yeah.
Right.
Oh, these guys are getting screwed. Trey Lance trade, good or bad?
Well, for the Niners, bad.
Good or bad? He asked for a trade and he got it.
Good for him. Did.
Like, it sounds like an amicable split. I agree with Shanahan. They fell short in his development, including play calling that put him in a bad position. I think they should have kept him, to be honest with you. I don't think he's better than Sam Darnold. That's ridiculous. You had 2 more years at his rookie rate. Why not keep the guy? I don't know. They got a 4th for him, I guess.
Yeah, he gave up 3 firsts for him, though. So all in all, bad deal for the Niners altogether. The guy played 2 full games and bits of other games, basically. So, yeah. Unfortunate situation. I don't know if Dallas is another good spot for him anyways, because they got Cooper Rush. So I don't know if he's getting that second string quarterback spot either. So
yeah,
unfortunately, I'd rather have kept him too than Darnold, but I guess Darnold plays the same way as Purdy and what Shanahan wants. So we'll see. We'll see if it's the right choice, because man, that could blow up their face. So far they've been good, so it hasn't, right?
Yeah, they got
but
Purdy.
When you give up that many first rounders, they got lucky with Purdy if Purdy's the man, or if not, if he ends up not being. Oh, could get ugly.
And he probably would have fell to them any which way. Stroud, Young, Richardson, all named as starters in week 1 in the NFL. Who will have a better rookie season? Why?
I'm going to go with Young, just because Carolina was a better team last year. They had a strong defense last year. If they can keep that going, Frank Reich is their coach. He's the only one of the 3 that has an experienced coach. Now, I don't know if he's going to be any better than D'Amico Ryans or Steichen, but I think he's in a better position slightly than these other guys.
Yeah, he's in a pretty good position. I think Josh McCown's like his coach or something, isn't it?
Is he the QB coach or is he there?
QB coach?
Yeah,
something
maybe
like that. I'm going to take Anthony Richardson. Who's their offensive coordinator?
Wow,
in
that Steichen
Carolina.
from Carolina. Is
Yeah,
Reich calling the plays?
right. He's a quarterback guy too, former
Yeah,
QB.
yeah.
Damn, that actually didn't think of that.
Crappy coach, but
He
good
did all right.
OC.
Yeah. I took Anthony Richardson. He's playing in that weaker division in regards to defenses. Of those three teams, he probably has the best O line. The Colts can be a top 10 O line. They underperformed quite a lot last year. Like you said, they have Steve Steichel, the former OC in Philly, who's now the head coach there. And they have Cam Turner, a good QB coach who worked with Kyler Murray when he was good. And they're sitting that guy out.
Oh yeah.
They're sitting that guy out to get a higher draft pick, I think.
Oh yeah, they're tanking for sure this year, man.
And they let go of that better QB.
Well, then they were just
joke.
randomly trading guys that were in the last year of their contract. We're talking about Arizona here at this point, right? That they're just trading guys randomly to get. Well, Caleb Williams, right, is the quarterback next year. So
for sure,
I think at this point you might as well just trade Kyler Murray and go with Colt McCoy as your quarterback and stink it up.
Maybe they're keeping Kyler for a trade chip on draft day.
Maybe. But he's, I mean, obviously, if they end up first or trading him at some point in the offseason.
Back to Anthony Richardson, he also has Jonathan Taylor. And maybe
does he?
Yeah,
for now.
And they probably have that. We're just talking about this year, and they probably have the better receiving group of the three.
They do,
maybe. So I'm going to take Anthony Richardson.
They do got some good receivers in Indy with Pittman and Pierce and all that compared to some of these other teams. So,
Auston Matthews signing, thoughts on that?
Good deal for him, man. 4 years. So when he's in turning 30, he's getting another contract. 13 mil, just over 13 mil. So good deal for him. A little bit tough for Toronto. They got to win now. They got to win because then you got Marner coming up too in a couple of years. So not a bad deal all around for either team, but good for Matthews that he's going to cash in again at age 30 and probably one more time after that. Who knows?
It's a good deal for everyone, I think. Sure, a lot of Leafs fans wanted that 6-7 year deal. But the guy's been in Toronto long enough. He doesn't have to pledge his allegiance, nothing. It's about making his money and still being where he's comfortable. It doesn't seem like he wants to test the market or he wants to leave the market. Seems like he's happy in Toronto.
Yeah, he would have done that now, right? He wouldn't have signed this contract and he would have waited a year and saw what else he can get. He obviously wants to stay there. So I don't think they have anything to worry about. So,
and I think he's taking about 15% of the salary cap, which still gives the Leafs room to play with the roster. Not lots of room, but it doesn't handcuff them. Unless the salary cap doesn't increase in the next few years, but I doubt that will happen.
But then when Mitch Marner's up too, he's going to have to get close to that number as well. So you're going to have two of those guys around that. But Tavares will be off the books probably by then. He's only got 2 more years, I think. So
for sure, he's got to be off the books. For sure.
Maybe they can give him the $1 million contract like they did to Spezza and all that for a bunch of years after that, so he can play 4th line minutes.
Yeah, sure. Maybe he'll take it.
Yeah, he might.
And they say, hey, we got a position for you in the front office when you retire.
Yeah, I mean, the guy made some good money over his time in Toronto, right? Yeah. Not necessarily all deserved making $11 million a year, especially in the last couple seasons. So,
Benny, you got any shout outs?
You know what? I'm just going to shout out Rich Stubler, who actually just passed away at the age of 74. Great CFL defensive mind, 5 Grey Cup championships. Always tough to go up against him as a Bomber fan, watching the Bombers play him. He was one of those great defensive minds in this league, and shout out to him for his time in the CFL.
Absolutely. And we don't talk about defensive minds a lot in the CFL. No. All the attention usually goes to the offensive coordinators in the passing game, but he was one of those just dominant defenses that no one can figure out.
Oh, yeah. He had the Bombers number many a times.
No doubt, especially when you have linebackers like O'Shea and Kevin Iben playing together.
That doesn't hurt.
Crazy Canadian combo. Wow.
Yeah.
And that opens up your roster to make you good everywhere else, any which way. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, join the contest, and have a good week.
And in the famous words of Yogi Berra, if you find a fork in the road, take it. Okay. Nathan Rourke got released.
Yeah, I just saw that too. That sucks.
If you're going to gamble, if you're putting money on it, is he going to be on an NFL roster next year or a CFL roster next year?
NFL. Like on an actual roster or practice squad kind of thing.
Will he be on a CFL roster next year or an NFL roster next year?
NFL, I still think. I think he'll still end up on a practice roster. He showed that he could play. You know, like he made some great plays in those games with Jacksonville in the preseason. So I don't think he's going to give up yet, and he's going to probably take a stab at it, like kind of like Stubler did. right? Stubler, not Stubler. So
yeah, I think he'll be on a CFL roster. I don't think a practice roster player can compare to the money that BC was offering to Nathan Rourke. Why, when you can make that amount of money, would you take your chance and just be on a practice roster where you might not put in games for a pension? So I think if he has a chance to come back to the CFL roster and make the same kind of money that BC was offering him, he'll come back to the CFL. If rather than, not necessarily a practice roster. But if he's on a regular roster, then take NFL money, of course.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.